There we go. Now I just got to pull up my stream manager so I can see what anybody is saying. Hard to answer questions if you don't know what people are asking. Okay. So first and foremost, I need to make sure that my stream is running. I should not have ads outside of the first ones that run. I'm 99% sure I figured out how to disable them. If for some reason there are ads rolling, just let me know outside of the first ones you get, and I will take the time later to get those disabled. I do have them set up so that I can run them myself, but that's only for when I need to like get up and walk, because it takes me so fucking long to get anywhere. But first and foremost, we're going to learn what G-Sync is. All FreeSync is G-Sync's pretty much G-Sync is proprietary to NVIDIA and will only really work with any NVIDIA card, while FreeSync is the same essential technology, but but it's open source. So FreeSync can work with AMD cards, it can work with Intel cards, the free and FreeSync, if I remember this correctly, which I'm pretty sure I read this a long time ago, AMD and Radeon, almost all of their software is open source. So the free and FreeSync means that it's free to be used among whatever, which is why you can use FreeSync. You can get G-Sync to work in with a FreeSync like capable panel, because it essentially is just using FreeSync and call the G-Sync is utilizing the FreeSync tech, but since they're the same thing, it just pretty much allows it to work, which is what adaptive sync is. Now, if that's confusing, I agree. So let's read and find out exactly what it is. Okay, so get down here. All right, so this is technically what G-Sync is. Let me make sure I need to pull up the stream so I can make sure my audio is coming in okay. Sorry, give me just a second. All right, test. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically, this is what old school G-Sync looks like. It's a giant fucking module that would go into the back of your panel. Almost nobody dealt with these, because they basically required a ton of cooling, and they were only used in really high-end panels. So if you were to have bought like a 1440p 165 hertz back when they first released, like 6 or 7 years ago, you would have spent close to $2,000 on it. And if it was a G-Sync capable, you would have spent more, and you would have come with this chip right here. And the reason why this was so important back then is because it was really hard for cards of that era to push past 120 hertz, 140 hertz, 165. Like, a lot of those at higher resolutions were really hard to do, simply because the technology wasn't there yet. So what G-Sync did is it basically allowed it to have variable refresh rate. So it would take the refresh rate and it would smooth it out. It would do, I don't know exactly the name of the technology, but it would basically take the signal and it would smooth it out. If you were stuck anywhere between like 40 and like 90 frames, it could make that, instead of looking choppy and shitty, it would make it look really good. And that's where the popularity came in, is because it allowed people to buy high-end monitors and actually have them look good. That's where the technology essentially comes from, is it gets rid of the screen tearing, and it gets rid of like the stutters and whatnot. So like if you're running a panel if you're running like a 1060 and a 4K panel or 1440p panel, and you don't turn the graphics down to where it can handle it, that's basically the experience you would get. And then G-Sync would come in and it would fix it and make it at least playable. Just imagine that at 1080p and with the highest end card. All right, this probably explains it way better. So if you have a 144 hertz monitor and you only get 60 FPS in a game, G-Sync will dynamically change the display's refresh rate to 60 hertz in order to provide you with 60 whole frames per second without tearing. Meanwhile, the variable overdrive will ensure that the pixel response time speed is adjusted accordingly, thus preventing pixel overshoot at low FPS and ghosting at high frames. Another advantage of what the G-Sync module, which thank God those are fucking gone, by the way, is that it replaces the regular scaler in the monitor. So you'll have a slightly lower input lag. The main disadvantage, which I'm going to disagree with this, is the price. I think that if people were able to afford these back in the day, it wasn't the money that was the problem. It was how freaking loud they were. And and how fast the module typically went out on them. They did not have a very good survivability rate. There's a reason why modern panels use adaptive sync. There's a reason why, like, you don't actually see very many G-Sync modules anymore. Is because they were very hard to cool. They added an extra fan to the back of your panel or back of your monitor, so your monitor was stupid loud. So it says that it has G-Sync, but it most likely has adaptive sync. It most likely doesn't have a G-Sync. It probably has a G-Sync sticker, like my LG right here. It says NVIDIA G-Sync on the bottom left-hand side, because it supports the G-Sync technology, but it doesn't have an actual G-Sync. This is what G-Sync really is. Your panel most likely has adaptive sync. So, where was I? So slightly lower input lag. All right, so the price was insane back in the day when these came out. As well as the limited connectivity option, since G-Sync modules don't have a VGA, a DVI, or USB-C or DisplayPort alternate mode ports. Picture-in-picture by picture modes also are not supported on true G-Sync monitors. Since the regular scaler is replaced, older G-Sync monitors don't support display scaling, though modern graphic cards handle GPU scaling with no added lag, so this isn't an issue. The newest modules support display scaling, but fiddling with CRU is required to make the option appear in NVCP. So they're basically having an actual current day G-Sync module. It's really not. It's almost nobody has them, and the people that do, they have $3,000 panels. That's essentially where you're gonna see actual true G-Sync modules anymore. All right, so G-Sync, FreeSync, and G-Sync compatible. This is pretty much what everybody has right now. It's the G-Sync compatible, and it's pretty much known as adaptive sync. Unlike G-Sync, FreeSync and G-Sync compatible monitors don't have the dedicated modules in them. They rely on VESA's free and open standard adaptive sync protocols in DisplayPort and HDMI connectors for the variable refresh rate. A G-Sync compatible monitor is essentially a FreeSync or adaptive sync monitor that's been validated by NVIDIA to work without any issues when using their cards. So essentially exactly what I thought it was. So what exactly makes G-Sync special? To start with, G-Sync modules usually have a wider VRR range than FreeSync and G-Sync compatible displays. For an instance, a 144 Hz G-Sync gaming monitor has a variable refresh rate range of 30 to 144, whereas a FreeSync monitor will only have the dynamic range of 48 to 144. But in all reality, almost none of us who have, good rigs and good monitors and even start to give a shit about the realm of like our current monitors and whatnot in our graphics card, almost none of us are ever going to see 40 hertz. And if we do, it's in a 1% low. It's not going to be a daily reality. And if it is, we're going to upgrade. We're going to sell our card or our CPU, and we're going to move up to the point where we're going to get, at least 80 frames as our kind of starting point for most of us. Actually, almost all of us that are most likely watching us. So if your frame rate drops to 40 FPS, a G-Sync monitor will change its refresh rate to 40, while a FreeSync monitor will resort to the low frame rate compensation, so LFC, and it'll multiply its refresh rate to 120 hertz, so 40 times 3 in order to prevent tearing. Triggering LFC causes minor stuttering though, so the overall gaming experience will be more pleasant on a G-Sync monitor in this case. As previously mentioned, since the G-Sync module replaces the regular scaler of the monitor, G-Sync monitors have lower input lag, though most FreeSync monitors have imperceptibly low input lag anyways. The upside of not having G-Sync include a lower price tag and more extensive connectivity options. It depends on the monitor and its FreeSync G-Sync compatible counterpart if it even exists. Sometimes a FreeSync monitor will have just as wide of a variable refresh rate range as a G-Sync, and even though it might not have the variable override, its overdrive implementation can be very good. When you start looking at like modern, really expensive panels, that's when you start seeing G-Sync Ultimate and FreeSync Ultimate 2. Gaming monitors with the G-Sync Ultimate cert also feature a dedicated module, but with the added high HDR support. So this is going to be the new G-Sync, actual G-Sync modules that are out. You're not going to see these on very many panels. So if we look at G-Sync Ultimate, search the web, the cheapest one, so that definitely doesn't have it. That is my panel. I know for a fact it doesn't have it. I don't even know if the Odyssey has it. But you're going to start looking at we want G-Sync Ultimate only. So almost all of these are 4K panels. You have to use DisplayPort with all of them, which makes sense. They're all around the 144 hertz for the 4K, but let's just look these up. So this is the concept. All right, that did not work. So it's a 27-inch 4K panel. It goes up to 500 nits, which isn't great. I mean, it's good. That's really bright, but this is a professional monitor. Let's see how much it is. Check Amazon. And renewed, it's $900. So this is most likely a $1,500 monitor because it's from 2020. So we know that it's old. All right, so find something more fun. The Predator X32 is going to come up with 1,000 different Predator monitors, most likely. So let's find, here we go, the Aegon by AAC. So this will only pull up this exact monitor. So search the web for this one. This is a $900 panel. A 900 to, it looks like 1,000. Pulled up on Amazon. So this is a 1440p 240 hertz that actually has G-Sync Ultimate in it. I've had 1440p 270 hertz panels, and oh crap, I have to respawn back to this lady, but I will do it later. This basically locks you into buying an NVIDIA card. It puts more risk of the monitor having major issues. And if you're buying an Aegon, if you're buying this super high-end panel and you're using it for, you know, esports and whatnot, I don't even know why they say the PS5 and Xbox Switch. Like, nobody gives a shit about that. And if they do, they're just idiots who bought this monitor not knowing what they were buying. So this is going to be a really good tournament monitor. But almost nobody is going to use this in tournament because they're going to use 1080p because you get more advantages. So this Samsung G7 doesn't have the module. It's normally 700 instead of 1,000, and it pretty much sits with the exact same specs. The main differences, I believe, is the curve. So this has a VA. Samsung's the only company that makes a VA panel that I actually recommend. But I don't see why you would buy the G-Sync Ultimate version over. Let's see if this Aegon has a different one that's also 14. So this one right here. Okay, so this is adaptive sync instead of G-Sync Ultimate, and it uses a better monitor. It uses mini LEDs instead of, I believe the other one was an IPS. So this gives you 1,000-watt HDR response. So this is going to give you like almost true, like, this is going to be an amazing panel. But as you see, when you're looking at the super high end of the G-Sync module monitors, they're all going to be that stupid, insanely high price. So don't even, in my opinion, they're not worth fucking with. They go out way faster. And they're not the realm that I live in. And for the most part, nobody should really live in that realm because it's experimental. All right, so now that we kind of know what G-Sync is and we know what FreeSync is, we can get rid of this stuff. So close this guy. Close this guy. Close. Okay, so here we go. This is the next thing I wanted to look at. 240 hertz versus 360 hertz. What should you choose? If you're looking at esports, you don't really want to do 1440p. So the Pixio 25-inch 360. So let's just look at this really fast. So if your PC can sustain over 240 frames, then a 360 hertz is worth considering. The difference between 240 and 360 is going to be really subtle. So the difference between 165 or 144 and 360 is actually pretty damn big. The difference between 60 and 144 is night and day. Going from 144 to 240 isn't as impactful as 60 to 140. But going from 140 to 240, you will see a difference. I promise you, you will feel and see the difference. You won't notice it as much. But when you go from 240 to 360 or from 240 to 500, you're looking at the jump still being, it basically halves itself each time it jumps in what's perceivable. And it also is, it puts a lot more strain on your hardware each time you jump. But if you have the power to run a 360, it is going to be a little bit better than the 240 for the all-around speed. The real difference is I know it without really looking deeply into all of this yet, is that when you buy a 240, now that 240s have been on the market for a while, they are priced better. They come with better features. They come with more features sometimes. And their overall price point is going to be way more competitive since they're no longer a Halo product. And by a Halo product, what I mean by that is more and more manufacturers are making them and they're becoming part of the actual community. They're not like the what the 500 hertz panel is right now to the 360. The 500 hertz panel is a complete Halo product where only a few people have them and they're insanely expensive. The 360 is now down in price and they're starting to become more and more popular in more and more people's homes. But with the 240s, since those are actually on a way wider berth, they have a longer time in the market. There's more people who actually have like deep dove into them, and you're going to find really good prices on 240s. And now you're starting to see that same price coming down on the 360s, but the 360s are still dealing with their first iteration. So like the Alienware that I really like, it's still the first generation 360, just lowered in price. A lot of the 240s that I really like just came out this year, and they're the second version or second iteration of the existing, model. Like when I bought my 270 hertz Acer Nitro for $700, that was 2021, and it was one of like 5 that were on the market, which is why it was so expensive. If you look at 1440p 240 to 270 hertz panels, you can now get really, really nice ones for around $300, 350, because it's had that maturation time. So Diac is awesome, but Diac, from what I understand, Diac is only on BenQ products, I thought. So there's actually a really good YouTube video. So this is the Alienware that I was talking about right here. $299 brand new, 360 hertz. This is a fucking beast of a monitor. I'm honestly, if I had the money, I would definitely look into this. So what we can do, let's pull up the Diac. Okay, so Brian. All right, so Diac. Hopefully.
So NVIDIA just announced a new update at Compute.
Really quick
so if you're
video.
somebody that already owns the PG27AQN, or if you're currently on the fence.
Don't look at that response rate bullshit that's on every single box. If you look at every monitor on sale from Walmart to super high end, almost all of them will say 0.5 response rate, 1 millisecond response rate, blah 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 blah. It's all marketing. The response rate is I'll show you a good graph on like where that is, but the actual response rate from like monitor to whatever is actually it's measured in a different way, but they're able to put that 0.5 or 1 millisecond response rate on the box because it sells.
Between going IPS or OLED, you're definitely going to want to see this. This new firmware brings 3 new features, but the big one here is ULMB2, or Ultra Low Motion Blur, the sequel, and you don't even need an NVIDIA GPU to take advantage of this. This is essentially a new gen of backlight strobing technology, which greatly reduces the effects of motion blur in-game. The idea here is that it keeps things sharper when they're moving, or more importantly, when you're flicking to a target. The concept here itself isn't new. It goes by a few different names. The most recognizable, and arguably the best at this point, is Zowie's Diac. The problem is that to get Diac specifically, you have to make a lot of concessions. The XL2566K retails for $600. It is 360 hertz, but it's also 24.5 inches, is only 1080p, and is a TN panel. And while that might work for somebody who is exclusively into sweaty competitive FPS, the majority of the comments under that video echoed that in 2023, it's just too much to sacrifice when we have so much exciting monitor tech coming out. So NVIDIA decided to offer something 100%. Very competitive to Diac Plus with ULMB2. It currently only works with the Asus PG27AQN and a comparable monitor from Acer, but there are 2 monitors coming soon that'll be able to take advantage of this. The way NVIDIA tests this is pretty insane. We've got what looks like a $40,000 Phantom high-speed camera on a Colossus robot arm from Motorized Precision. It'll run you about 240K, and this allows them to capture footage that looks like this. This is not a render or a simulation. This is the real thing in action, captured at very high speed. And here's the way I test it we have Pursuit camera tracking at home with the Sony a7 IV on a slider track. The idea here is that the human eye tracks objects in game as they move across the screen, so the camera needs to be moving as well at the same speed as the subject. We track these moving UFOs from Blurbusters with a moving camera, and that's where you get these images that pop up in a lot of monitor reviews. So here we see the motion blur, the AQN monitor with ULMB2 off, and here it is with ULMB2 on. Obviously a very solid improvement. This was taken with the monitor pushing a full 360 FPS. And here we have the PG27AQN running ULMB2 versus the Zowie XL2566K running Diac Plus Premium, also captured at a full 360. At first glance, the Zowie appears sharper because those blacks are really pronounced. Remember that the pixels in a TN panel can go to black faster than an IPS.
Yeah, they can.
If we pixel peep here, you can see some pretty significant image doubling on the Diac with a third bit of ghosting trailing behind.
Oh shit, yeah, there is a lot of ghosting.
pointer ghosting without the hard doubling. And I think most people would be drawn to the Diac image just because those blacks are punched in so hard, but the areas outside the main image are cleaner on the ULMB2 side. Nonetheless, we are pixel peeping really hard here on a single still frame image. In game, I can definitely tell the difference between running these modes on or off, but I can't really tell the difference between ULMB2 and Diac when I play them back to back. And that's a great thing, because what NVIDIA has essentially done here is created a no compromise solution for people that were thirsting for Diac but didn't want to give up 1440p or IPS colors or variable refresh rate, which we'll talk about here in just a sec. The big reason why only the latest top tier monitors are compatible with ULMB2 is because they have to hit certain performance standards, and one of those key things being brightness, because what this tech is doing is actually turning off the backlight for up to 75% of each frame, and some of the older ULMB solutions that we've seen before have made monitors so dim that they weren't really usable. Because I learned so much during my obsessive brightness testing of all the latest OLED panels, I did go back and remeasure this panel and the Zowie as well. At 100% brightness in SDR mode, the AQN puts up about 535 nits without ULMB. For what it's worth, this is crazy bright, like way too bright. I normally run this panel around 70%. Turning on ULMB2 took us down to
1440p
250 nits, so
That's
it does
so sick.
impact brightness quite a bit, but 250 is still plenty bright.
That has to
even
be
in
like a
bright mode. For those of you
$1,200
that
panel.
are curious, Diac off will get you 320 nits on the Zowie side, and Diac Plus on premium lands you at 233. So we don't see as much
Okay, so
impact
that's
of
not
brightness over
terrible.
there, but the end result is still just a touch better on the AQN. If you're wondering, this is not available on the OLED panels because they don't have the brightness overhead to spare. So while you do get drastically lower gray to gray times on OLED that results in some really fast transitions, you actually get a pretty similar level of motion blur to the AQN when it's not running ULMB2. So that's all the objective stuff, but subjectively, it is really nice to use. I recently upgraded my system to an i9 13900K, and after some system tweaks and settings tuning, I'm able to clear over 300 FPS in most maps in Modern Warfare 2, and it just feels like absolute butter. It is such a smooth experience, and yes, I do feel the difference when I go back to 240 FPS on the OLED monitors. OLED still has it in image quality because those blacks and that contrast make for a really rich looking frame, but in competitive, I would definitely go for 360 ULMB2 if your setup can push that. I can confirm that ULMB2 doesn't have any impact to input latency, and it also works fine with the 25-inch esports mode.
So that's the true, like, you saw those numbers, right? This is kind of the true latency that you're going to see while you're
The
gaming.
only thing to be aware of here is that you can either run G-Sync or ULMB2. You can't run both at the same time, but it's great to have the option. So for single player games that run heavier on your system, it's great to have G-Sync to avoid some screen tearing, but on those competitive titles that run a lot lighter where you can easily push higher frame rates, ULMB2 would be the way to go. They made a couple tweaks to the G-Sync variable overdrive too. This means that your overdrive will adjust more accurately as your frame rate moves up and down. Most monitors are generally tuned to provide the best experience at the highest FPS. This will reduce ghosting or overshoot really dialed in as your frame rate changes. This works great for consoles that are capped at 60 or 120 FPS. And they've also made some tweaks to the overdrive tuning to model the RGB space instead of linear light. It's really nerdy, but it basically means the display is going to have a more accurate brightness curve during the transitions. But clearly, ULMB2 is the star of the show here. It's a very welcome update from NVIDIA, and it's just one more reason to consider a top-tier IPS monitor over some of the current OLED options. OLED looks amazing, and I can't speak to the Acer XB273UF, but this makes the PG27AQN a feature-packed powerhouse of a monitor with no real concern about burn-in or lifespan. If you currently own one of these supported monitors, this new firmware should be available to download by the time you see this video, if not shortly after. If you got any value out of this video today, please drop me a like or consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already.
Okay, so basically, the main thing I pulled out of this is that Diac is awesome. It doesn't get super bright. I had no idea that it was a TN panel. So what TN is twisted pneumatic. What twisted pneumatic mean, or I think that's what it stands for, is that as the pixels change, and like he looks like it's down. As the pixel response changes, right, and the colors, like how they represent, it basically turns them it turns them in a way that like the refresh is faster, but the color representation from like sides. So if you have any like side angle, like if you're looking, or like how I have if I had my side monitor over here at an angle right now, since it's an IPS, I'd still be able to see everything clearly without fuzz. The way that TN works is that if you look at it sideways or like at any off kilter angle than straight on, you lose your resolution. You lose like the clarity and everything. With IPS, which is what I prefer and the only panel type that I personally buy, it stands for in plane switching, and that means that the individual pixels they change between green, red, and blue, like in a flash. So that's how they individually turn off and on and change that color, and it allows it to look good from the sides. It looks good pretty much however. I promise. Um so this guy, Bad Seed Tech, he's probably my favorite like YouTuber when it comes to kind of the
So
more
I've spent a
niche
few
like
weeks now.
audio. Yeah, I mainly come to him for audio and keyboard reviews because he does a lot of like really higher end like super nerd shit. It's how I learned about like planar magnetics. It's why I have the EVGA audio card that I have. Why I why like Ducky right here. I would have never Ducky as a keyboard maker or like I have another Ducky.
Now with three of the newest, hottest gaming monitors on the market. The 360Hz 1080p TN from Zowie, the 360Hz 1440p IPS from Asus, and the
That's what I want.
240Hz 1440p OLED from LG. By now, I figure most people watching this video have consumed various deep dive videos of these monitors. I've spent the past few weeks upgrading the testing capabilities here at the studio, so we will have objective data going.
Okay, so let's look at that Pixie. So honestly, the Pixio that I would buy, in would be the this is. Have you already watched this video?
So one of the most frequent questions that I get asked on stream is why I actually downgraded to a 240Hz gaming monitor after trying 360Hz on that Asus monitor that you can see back there and that I reviewed about 8 months ago. So today I wanted to make this video on my current thoughts and feelings on 240Hz versus 360Hz, as well as just my experience swapping between them and racking up a ton of gaming hours on them.
Dude, stay there, Luke. Stay there.
Stay down. One enemy remaining. Flawless.
After all, more hertz equals more better, right? Well, monitors are a bit more complicated than that, and it sounds counterintuitive, but if you're a sweaty competitive gamer, your best option right now might actually be a 240Hz gaming monitor. That also means that if you are currently gaming on a 240Hz display, I'd say that 360Hz is not worth the upgrade, depending on what your current monitor is. And what this mostly comes down to is understanding the difference between refresh rate and response times, and also understanding the competitive benefit of a motion blur reduction technique called backlight strobing. Refresh rate is simply the amount of screen refreshes that you're getting, and when expressed as hertz, that's per second. So 240Hz is 240 screen refreshes per second, 360 is 360 refreshes. Most of us know this. But all this value really tells us, granted that we do have a frame rate that can keep up with those refresh rates, is how many images are displayed on your screen per second. It doesn't tell you how clear those images are, like whether there is any ghosting or artifacting, and those are arguably more important factors when it comes to actually hitting your shots. And the other thing here is the misleading increase increase that you might be expecting from upgrading from a 240 to a 360Hz display. Although that's a 50% increase in the amount of frames that you're getting per second, that's only a speed up of about 1.4 milliseconds between frame intervals. So going purely off numbers here, theoretically, the speed up from 120Hz
this
to
doesn't have
240Hz is
diac+.
actually 3 times faster compared to 240 to 360, despite it being the exact same interval. Now, on the other hand, response times are how fast an individual pixel can change color. Faster response times means less ghosting, which means a clearer image, but if the monitor has been tuned too aggressively to achieve these faster response times, then you'll often see overshoot or inverse ghosting, which is usually worse. My favorite test for this is the moving UFO test from blowbusters.com, seeing as it accurately displays the amount of ghosting and inverse ghosting different monitors have, and in-game, that's what we care and notice the most, the display's behavior when you're moving around. So this is the 360Hz monitor that I reviewed about 8 months ago, the Asus PG259QN. It uses an IPS panel, which I believe is the way forward for gaming monitors, and that means that colors are absolutely beautiful here and super vibrant. Now, rewinding 8 months ago, when I first reviewed that monitor, I'd first told you guys that I couldn't tell the difference between 240Hz and 360Hz after doing a complete blind test in CS moving images that I've ever seen. Now, a few months ago, 46K specifically,
Let's find the blur
time
busters.
it doesn't lower the monitor.
So the 2546K, which is this one right here, is closing it. I reopen a new page. All right, so Amazon, the 2546K. Why is there the price difference? Oh, this must be renewed. This is brand new. I don't. We don't even know how much the 360 hertz costs because of the sale, but we know that we can get this for $290. How's it going, Pika? Sorry if you caught me last night. I tried streaming and I straight passed out. So whenever buying, I highly recommend buying from Amazon Warehouse, simply because you can usually save a ton. But make sure if you do, always make sure you're buying from Amazon Warehouse and that it's sold and shipped from Amazon. So that way, if it does show up and there's any issues at all, you can send it back the same day via Kohl's. Let's do the XL2546K. Hopefully it gives me the model number. So honestly, if you're only really looking to play if you're only wanting to play esport games and you're trying to get the very best that you can get, that's when I would recommend the Zowie. I honestly wouldn't buy this for myself. It doesn't have the features that I personally want. It is a good 240 hertz panel. It's probably one of the best on the market. And when you start looking at like the straight technicals, it's going to be the best. But I like to have more range in my panel. I like to have more brightness. I like to have better viewing angles. I prefer more clarity, and like I want my panel to be fast and to react fastly. I don't need it to be like super top tier. This thing would be really good if you're doing straight competitive gaming. I honestly would look in. So let's look into that 360 hertz because it's cheaper right now. And really price is what really matters. Me, no, I don't have a 4K. I run I'll pull up exactly what I run here in just a second. Um should be I just pulled them up on here the other day, so they should pop up. So this is my 32-inch panel right here. It's the 32GP 83.B 1440p 165 hertz nano IPS. And then for 350 it's a good panel. For my 27-inch, which is the one that I'm actually streaming right now on, so that's the panel that you're seeing, I run the if it pops up, the Dell S2721 DGF. This is my primary fast-paced gaming monitor is this one right here, and then my secondary panel is the $500 Nano Ultra Gear right here. But if I was gonna buy a really fast panel, I would highly look into this one. It's 25 and it's 24.5 inches. So you're gonna get a very, very good pixel density. Since you sit close like I do, what it's gonna do is 1080p is gonna look like 1440p because the pixels are so tight next to each other, and the 360 hertz here, you're basically getting you're just getting a ton of value here. When this thing came out, this was $750, which is why a ton of reviews talk about like why 360 hertz panels are kind of silly. When I bought my first 360 hertz panel, it was the Asus model, or it was either the Asus or the Acer 360, and it was $750 if I was to have bought it new. I managed to get a deal on it off of Amazon Warehouse. I paid $240 something for it originally, and then I was able to play with it and then sell it for a profit, and it was a great experience. This thing right here is what I would kind of look at if I was going to be buying a really fast competitive panel. Is I would be looking at this. So let's look at let's do a comparison video between this and that BenQ. Copy. XL2546K. But it's the okay, so XL 546K. That's going to be the 240 hertz one, which is the affordable one. Well, affordable, $450. Okay, so this is what we're up against between the two. For some reason, this did not come back correctly because it's saying it's 240 hertz. AW2521HF. AW2523HF. Three BF. Here we go. All right, so these are the two panels that you're looking at right now. Or this is the panel that I'm kind of recommending. This is the one you were asking me about. Straight off the jump, the fact that this is a TN panel makes me not really want it. Just because I do a lot of like, I move my monitors around a lot, and the side, like if you look at a TN from the side, you lose a ton of clarity. The Alienware is an IPS, which is a in-plane switching. It gives you a lot better like visual from side to sides. The Alienware, so look and see what they got for your mix usage. The Alienware beat it by just a hair. The full comparison, it beats it by just a hair. At gaming, it's down by 1 tick in ratings, which I really do trust RTings or ratings work. They do a fantastic job. The Zowie doesn't have any HDR, so obviously the Alienware is going to beat it there. Overall media creation and consumption, the Alienware beats it. Bit build quality on both are going to be fantastic. Oh, it actually looks like the build quality on the Zowie did not get a good score. That's crazy. The 2.3HF has an excellent build quality. It's solid throughout. The stand holds the display well, and there's minimal wobble. The screen stays in place when you adjust it. The plastic materials also feel good and don't flex. With the Zowie, the build quality is okay. It's entirely made out of plastic and feels cheap. The stand isn't particularly stable, and the monitor wobbles a lot. The adjustment hinges are sturdy, but adjusting the display doesn't feel smooth and causes the whole monitor to move. Also, you can easily separate the bezel from the screen. Okay. Yeah, that definitely looks a bit better. But I mean, I do like the look of the Zowie more than the, but I do think they both look damn good. Don't really care about the stand. So if you're going to be editing video on it, I 100% would get the Alienware. Mainly because it has HDR support. It doesn't have the greatest HDR support, but if this is going to be your primary, like Apex Legends, Fortnite, esport, you know, like high-end esport gaming monitor for $299, this is a insanely good monitor for this price. So in the box, looks like you get the DisplayPort cable, HDMI cable, that weird DisplayPort for states. You get the DIAC over here, which is plus on this. So picture quality, honestly, since these are really for gaming and really fast-paced gaming, you're not gonna get the greatest like editing experience out of this, mainly because that's not what these are designed for. If you move up to 1440p and you start looking at those 240 hertz 1440p panels, you're gonna get a lot better picture quality overall. But the problem is you're going to be paying a lot more and you're going to be using a ton more resources. So your 4070 is about the same as my 6900 XT for like pure just rasterization and like pushing frames. I think it would do okay with a 1440p 240, but you're not going to get the most out of it like you will with the 4070 and a 360 1080p. Yeah, so brightness, you get a better brightness on here. You actually have HDR, which is good. I mean, it's not huge, but at least you have it. The viewing angles, this is what I mean for viewing angles. This is with the Alienware, if you're to look at it from these angles and how it looks. See how it goes from like warm to kind of looking normal to now it's normal completely, and now it's going to start changing and going the opposite way where it's going to end up super warm looking like that. That's what TN panels look like when you start moving them around. Well, this is what an IPS panel looks like when you start moving it around. I've actually never seen this representation, but this is actually super, super smart. That's cool. So this, if you want to get super nerdy with it, this tells you exactly what your chromas are, how the colors shift, all this nerd shit. Ratings does break down all of it. So if you understand this stuff, I can send you the link. Actually, I'll just send. So the stand doesn't matter. That makes sense. Then also the vertical viewing angles, which if you were to tilt like this will also show the difference. I'm just going to show because so this is the IPS 360 hertz. So a lot of the modes are like for how fast the monitor goes. A lot of them are performance modes actually kind of a negative thing to use because it causes overshoot. So just look into which one gives you the best for that particular monitor. And then deep dive reviews will usually tell you. But like for me with my Dell, I use the second to last for like the advanced speeds and whatnot because it gives me the best motion response time with the best clarity. While if I do the next one up, the performance one, it actually forces more ghosting and it causes it just causes it to look way shittier. Even though it's technically going faster, it's not actually beneficial. So the gray to gray is quite a bit better on the Alienware. The blacks are going to be better on the TN. So just like the flat blacks are going to look better because the way that the pixels turn on and off. Pre-calibration, so straight out of the box, this is what the colors look like. Alienware is better. After post-calibration, they're both insanely good. 9.8 is very good for this 1080p. This is very, very good. Then SDR, you got 9.1 versus 8.8. Color volume 9.4. Oh, this Alienware is very surprising. It is. I didn't think that it would look this. Slightly better reflections in case there's a lot of light in your room. This is the difference between the two. Honestly, they're pretty much exactly the same. Text clarity, they both get the same score. Gradient, better score. So color gradient for how like deep and bright and pronounced and everything. The Alienware is actually quite a bit better. You definitely want to use a DisplayPort cable for it. You'll have to run it on 8-bit for 360. Oh no, you won't. You can do 300 hertz 10-bit. That's so sick. So the G-Syncs works on both of them. Yeah, dude. If it was me, the BenQ Zowie, they both for the response time for the max refresh rate. The Zowie does get slightly fast. It's slightly faster, but if you look, that 0.3 difference is not gonna really change much in real world at all. The rise and fall time of 3.5 versus 4.6. So this is just a hair better. And this is with the recommended overdrive setting for extreme. So that's definitely what you'll want to set it to for. The overdrive. So this will actually tell you exactly what each one does for the panel for what you set it to. Yeah, I'm insanely surprised with how good this alien. I don't give a fuck about 6. This is the Diac, is the backlight strobing. The Alienware does not have it. While the BenQ does. They both get 0 like image flicker issues. Input lag, the BenQ gets a 9.7 while the Alienware gets a 9.3. Native resolution 1.8 millisecond. So see what I mean about how they say that they have 0.5 millisecond responses? This is actually what their response times are. The Alienware is a 1.8 while the Zowie is a 2.3. And that's at 360 hertz. And this is at 240 hertz. And then the Zowie is just a hair bigger. It's a true 25 inch. But yeah, I highly would recommend this Alien. I'm very surprised with how good it is. And yeah, it doesn't have the Diac, which is kind of sad, but it's also wow, I guess it makes sense since it's a TN panel, but I can't believe it only supports DP 1.2. Crazy. Neither of them have HDMI 2.1, which doesn't really matter. The Alienware has HDR10, which is good. It has 4 extra USBs for charging and connecting stuff to it. It looks like you can charge at 5 gigabytes a second or transfer data to and from. It has an upstream port. If you have a Mac OS, it's compatible. I'm honestly tempted. So let's see how much it is at Best Buy. Is it also $299 at Best Buy? Yeah, it's also on sale at Best Buy. So I would look and see if your local Best Buy has it. The all pickup location. Oh, I wonder if open box. Nope. I wouldn't even buy open box though for $10 savings. That's fucking stupid. But yeah, when this Alienware, let's see how long it takes for it to arrive via. So if I was to buy a monitor, if like honestly, what I want to do is I want to sell my LG, my 32 inch. Not that I don't like my LG. And Pika, I will look up your MSI panel and tell you how much it costs in just a few minutes. Sorry. I didn't mean to forget about you. The HP Omen that just came out, this 240 hertz 27 inch, freaking phenomenal for how good it is. This is what I personally would be looking at buying if I had the money. But the so Best Buy has some crazy monitors. I knew that it was going to. Not like I have the money. This thing right here is what I actually really want. It's an IPS. It's curved, which I don't like, but it's still IPS. It's a 34-inch 1440p 160, and like it's only 2 inches bigger than my like secondary panel, but in all reality, like its overall like the screen real estate is insane. Like I would use this for my open world game. Like in a perfect world, I would use this for my open world games, like I do with my current 32-inch LG. And then my 27-inch Dell would still be my like, fast-paced games and whatnot. Um, but this thing just came out and it is really, really, I'm really surprised with how many great monitors. But yeah, this Alienware at $299. This is if we look at like, it looks like it's $420 if you were to buy it from Dell. A ton of people on like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace who are buying these and trying to upsell them. The fact that it's an 8.4 out of 10 for its overall RTings rating tells me that it is fantastic. The only other monitor like reviewer that I really consider is Display Ninja. Those two, if those two both say that something's, that's when I actually start really looking into. But yeah, for the price point, I highly recommend. The realm of monitor that I really like outside of esports, 1440p, like super not super high end, but like the 1440p 27-inch 240 270 hertz. There's a new Acer that just came out. So 270 hertz 1440, or I should do. This 240 hertz Dell was $160 a couple weeks ago. This is definitely one of the like lower end 240s that you can buy, but for if you can get it for like 100 and something, really not a bad deal. This is the new 360 hertz 1440p panel that just came out. 1,049 is insane. Um, the only reason why, if I could afford this, I'd be pushing like I'd definitely be push. Oh my, this ultra fast IPS 360 hertz 1440 doesn't really this thing. Bit 0.03 millisecond. It has a heat sink in the back. Yeah, if I had the money for like a high-end 1440p, is this OLED? It has 1,000 nit peak brightness. This has to be OLED. Yep, yeah, this is a 240 hertz OLED. That's so fucking cool. Holy shit, that's cool. So it's $1,000 sold by Amazon, but it probably, if I had to guess, this is like a month out before you'll get it. Internet does runs like dick for some reason. That's so rad. PG27 AQD. .5, 9.1 out of 10. Damn. Okay, so this thing is as sick as I thought it was. 240 hertz, 1440p, $1,000 panel. That's so cool. Oh, the LG uses the same OLED panel. The near infinite contrast ratio. That's so cool. I can't wait for 5 years to go by so I can buy this for $300. But yeah, for 1080p, 240 hertz and 360 hertz gaming, the real differences, in my opinion, really came down to the price point. The benefit of 360 over 240 is not very high. But the price at the time when a lot of those videos were coming out and a lot of those comparisons were happening, you were looking at double the price, if not more, for the 360 hertz variant over the 240 hertz variant. Now that the prices are comparable. Oh, yeah, it'll definitely be faster through Amazon. It looked like it was going to show up tomorrow, I think, right? Yeah, Best Buy, the sooner to be here is the 28th, is what I was seeing on my end. I tried looking to see if anywhere nearby you, but they're yeah, tomorrow. Dude, that's so crazy. This is such a good panel for this price. And like I like the Pixio, don't get me wrong. The Pixio is a damn good thing, but there's no reason to buy it over this when you know that like yeah, yeah, we know that this is a panel, so why not tonight? If you buy it right now, you know you'll get it tomorrow. You have an hour and 47 minutes. And it arrives tomorrow. The more time this stays on sale, the more chance of it selling out. That's just my thought process, though. I don't want to. I want to see the prices. GameStop selling it for $455. What other? I can't believe that there's 360 hertz 1440p panels now. To me, $20. Better 4K IPS. 1400. and it's a 30 too big for esports. Doesn't make it. So it does have the ultimate. And at $20, I would assume that it does. Stupid high HDR. This is enough to cause like eye damage. It is a mini LED, which is $980 people have bought this from rating. The more I'm learning about like some of these like weird monitors, not weird, but these like kind of unknown monitors, like the KTC, the Kurai. So a lot of these are out of like Korea, and I guess KTC is actually a pretty well-known brand over there. And this Kuru, one of these Kurus for this 24-inch right here, for $998. It's either this one or the IPS version of this one that's right around 115 bucks. It actually matches the Pixio. It uses the same panel, and it matches the like $140 Pixio Prime 248, I believe is the model number. And it's like 50 bucks cheaper. It's kind of crazy. How good these, from what I've read about these panels, how good these little Kurus are for their price point. You know, I always tell people to stay away from a lot of these just because I there's not a lot of info you can find, but the more and more stuff that I'm seeing about KTC, which, you know, this is a almost $1,000 panel and people are trusted enough to buy it. So that tells you one thing for sure. But the more that I read about KTC and Kuru, the more that I'm actually gonna be really deep diving into them. They seem to be solid. Like this shit, I have no idea what this is. I would not tell anybody to buy this. What I recommend to a lot of people, um did I lose all my viewers? Is everyone gone? Everyone dip? Hello? What the fuck? Well, according to this, nobody is here anymore, so I guess I can just leave. What the fuck? It's so weird. All right. If you're a console gamer and you want a 34-inch or a 32-inch or a bigger panel because you're trying to get a bigger screen for your room, but you don't have very much money, so like $500 total to find something, start looking at TVs. So like the Hisense U7G, this TV right here, I believe each now my internet. I have a, oh my god. So the UAH, holy shit, this is on sale for $650 right now. It's a quantum LED 4K panel. It games extremely well. For $650 for a 65-inch, if you have a fairly good, you have a modern console, or if you have a pretty good like gaming rig that has HDMI 2.1 on its graphics card, this is a pretty good get to use for gaming for that like card. If you're looking into getting something big and you can't really afford the straight up gaming, but you want to have the high HDR and you want to have that like versatility, these quantum Hisense TVs are insanely good for what they do. The U7, I believe, this U88, I believe, if I remember correctly, has a 120 hertz refresh rate. Up 100%. Every year they change the name of the panel by a different letter. So last year it was, or 2020 it was the U7G, or 2021, and then this last year it was the U7H, I believe. I have the U7G, and it is freaking fantastic for the PS5, the PS4 Pro, the Fire TV stick, any sort of like gaming that I've done on that TV. I was kicking myself in the ass because I paid $550 for that TV back when it was still new on a sale. Around that same time, I spent $800 on a 4K 32-inch panel, and the TV got brighter and it did everything that the 4K panel did, but was slightly bigger. So the U88. The mini LED TV, Hisense U, blah blah blah. Versus the U8G. The G, I believe, is the gaming one. I'm not watching any. Buddy.
Hello guys, Jose here. Welcome back to the channel. A couple more options. Hisense was having problems, or some people was having problems with 4K 120 hertz. And local dimming, I still have this one on high.
Buddy.
I think
You're
you
making
get
the
the
TV
brightest
look like
picture.
crap. Okay, so this thing is $550.
U8H, Hisense's first, and for now anyway, only mini LED TV. Is it a must or a bust? Let's find out. Review video because the Hisense talking about a lot. Once again, we're looking at a Hisense TV with performance that
crazy.
well exceeds
Mini
its
LED
own claims,
technology.
taking the whole
It's
under-promise,
HDR.
over-deliver
It's going to
mantra
go from
new
it's going to
levels.
go to
Its
like
value proposition is a
anywhere
huge
between
factor
1,000 to
for consideration.
1,500
So we've
nits,
got to talk
like
about
straight
that.
from the
And
jump.
we've got some interesting philosophical questions to debate, such as, is there such a thing as too bright when it comes to TVs? If that's not a nice bit of
blows my
foreshadowing, I
mind,
don't know what
dude.
is. Anyway,
It's
like I
so
said, there
good
is a lot
for its
to talk
price
about
point,
with this TV,
like-
which is actually a really good thing. So sit back, relax, grab a beverage. We're about to have
Damn, dude, look at those. You know those are like $5,000. And then this these both right here look like they ADS lab, willing to bet super old.
have some fun talking about the Hisense U8H Mini LED TV. Before we dive into it, I want to say thank you to all of you who jumped into the comments on my unboxing video for this TV. You all came through with a bunch of helpful questions and suggestions to cover most videos. That means I've got to start with some criticisms of this TV, which isn't the way I normally like to do things.
Don't care.
rather than it to be best, but pick anything other than eco. Then, under the picture settings menu, right here under backlight, there's an option for the ambient light sensor.
Gaming.
As for gaming, we've got a 120 hertz native panel, 2 HDMI inputs that can do 4K 120 in HDR, VRR and FreeSync Premium, a decent game mode that reduces input lag to an average of 8 milliseconds, which puts it right up
Amazingly
there
good.
with the lowest you'll find from most TVs. So it's responsive. As for picture quality, well, it's very bright and very colorful. Accurate? Pretty close. I think LG's game preset looks a bit better, bit more refined. But again, for the money, this TV is going to thrill a lot
The
of folks
LG
who
is
want an
$1,500
awesome gaming
more.
experience.
Gonna
And
throw that
leads
out
me
there.
to the real takeaway here. For the price, this TV is astonishing. I mean, it would be an excellent performer if it cost 50% more than it actually does.
Yep.
But considering what you get for what you'll pay, it's just mind-blowing to me. Add to it that it offers very good performance without a calibration, and the fact that it needed precious little adjustment to the 2-point white balance to achieve amazing measurements. I think that just ups its value even more and puts it at the top of the Videophile's budget TV category. Like, if you're hungry for top-tier performance, but you just can't pay top-tier TV prices, you need to check out the Hisense U8H. It's just incredible what you get for the money. Can I recommend it, though? Yeah, I'm gonna give a somewhat tentative yes here. I don't love the software bugs that I ran into. They gave me serious pause. Like, at one point, I was ready to just throw the remote through the window. But
I believe it's the U8G, U7G that pops. It's the U7G. This is the one that I bought last 2 years ago. This is what I rock as my gaming TV. Bought this for my PS5, and it was absolutely phenomenal for my. I say. All these Samsungs pop up, and these are all when it comes to actual gaming. The TCLs and the Hisenses are going to be your best for gaming straight up until you get into the realm of OLED. And then the for OLED, the best TV is the LG. It'll pop up here. But yeah, if you only have a limited amount of money and you're trying to buy a TV and a monitor for your, for your man cave or whatever you want to call it, or your living room, and you are going to get a 55-inch, there are 55-inch, 65-inch TVs that have impeccable clarity. They are absolutely stunning. They match, like this thing right here, the C series. So this LG 55-inch for $1,600 is an amazingly good OLED. But when you get the so if we go to the C, these go all the way down to 42 inches, which I like because 42 inches for a monitor isn't that crazy. But if you're gonna get a giant monitor, you're better off getting one of these TVs because you can find them for way better prices. That's kind of just I'm just kind of throwing that out there just because I spent the money on a really expensive 4K panel, and then I bought a 4K TV, and yeah, the refresh rate was slightly different, but when it came down to how well it played for like console, if you're buying it for a console, because a lot of people are buying these HDMI 2.1 4K panels, like 4K 2.1. Wow, I can't type. Start seeing insane price. The cheapest one you're going to come across is around 600. So like this is what I bought this one, but the 32-inch version the day it came out in North America. So this one, but not curved. It was $7.99 when I bought it. And it was great. Don't get me wrong. Like these gigabyte panels are the best for their price. But if you start comparing them to like TVs that are out there and you don't have that money to throw around, getting the U7G, so this is what I actually U7G for gaming. I bought this years ago for $500.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a new Android TV that I recently picked up on a Black Friday deal. Now, this is a 4K video playback from YouTube. I'm going with this 4K 60 HDR Jazz demo from LG. Just give you a look here that we are at 4K.
So you can do
One of my favorite things
TV
to do on Android
has a
TVs
CPU in it, right?
emulation.
Which is
And
pretty
since
rad.
We have Google Play. I've gone through and I've installed Redream for Dreamcast. I've
He's
also got
using
Loop
the
N64 plus
TV
FC for
to run these
N64
games.
and PPSSPP for PSP. First up, we got some Dreamcast using Redream. Marvel vs. Capcom.
This is
2,
running
FPS
straight
is
off of the
up in top left-hand
television
corner.
CPU, which I
This
think is
running
just
great.
insane.
I had a good feeling that Redream would run well on this hardware. We've got that quad-core 1.8 gigahertz CPU paired up with that Mali G52 GPU. And when it comes to Dreamcast, I mean, I'm getting great performance here. It's pretty impressive seeing this just run on a TV. I mean, this is natively running on the hardware in the TV.
It's just insane. A lot of you guys aren't my age, but the Dreamcast, I'm sure some of you had it as a kid. I grew up with the original Nintendo. The first thing I ever saved up to buy was the Legend of Zelda Gold Edition when I was 4. It was $55, and the Sega Genesis was right on the precipice of coming out. It wasn't even out yet, from what I remember. But yeah, the first thing I ever saved up was for a original Nintendo Legend of Zelda game back when it was still new in stores. The Dreamcast, when it came out, I couldn't afford it. I was working, I was building fence lines and stuff when I was 12 so I could buy an original Xbox, and the Dreamcast had come out, well, I think right before it came out. And the fact that you can run on my TV that I spent $500 on, I can not only run my PS5 and get insanely good frames, my PS4 Pro, I can download onto a thumb drive and use the television itself to play Dreamcast games, to play
Moving over to
PlayStation
some
games, to play N64
Here's
games.
GoldenEye 007. By the way, I'm using Move
Just off the
64
TV.
plus FZ from the Google Play Store. I didn't do any kind of upscaling or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, this is running really, really well. I've got one more N64 game to test, which is a harder one to run, and that's Conker's Bad Fur Day, and surprisingly, it's able to run this game also. I wouldn't mind playing my N64 games on the native hardware inside of this TV. It's not the best emulation that I've seen, but it's not a super powerful unit either.
It's just so cool, man. Like, I know this doesn't have anything to do with esports, and I'm sorry, but this is just so fucking cool.
EP. We'll go with Soul Calibur Broken Destiny first. 2x resolution, no frame skip. We'll load right in. Up in the top right-hand corner, we have the FPS, and it's running at 60. So overall, the easier PSP games are going to run well on this at 2 to 3x resolution, depending on the game, but I really wanted one.
It's just so fucking cool.
These harder ones are just too hard to emulate for the hardware. Other thing I wanted to test was some cloud gaming. Couldn't get it side loaded, but GeForce Now is on the Google Play. So I was getting a lot of skips, but
I don't give a shit about cloud to this. I want to see native hardware.
Amazing deal.
So here we go, native hardware.
Any of those Ryzen 5 and 4 in the first place was.
Sorry, I shouldn't have skipped so much.
Main reasons I picked this TV up for in the first place was for my Xbox Series X. Here's Forza Horizon 5, and this looks so good. I do own a few 4K TVs in the house. I consider them B-class 4K TVs. They're not super expensive. I got an LG IPS downstairs. We've also got a Toshiba, and I can tell you that this looks 10 times better than any of those TVs I have. Now, this is not a $3,000 OLED TV.
One of the only,
You're still gonna see
the main
better-looking
downside to
TVs
this
out
is
there.
that I had a
But with this
really
thing
hard
coming in at
time getting it up to
$649,
120 hertz.
4K, HDR10 plus,
It's possible.
Dolby Atmos,
It's
and
just a
120
little bit
hertz
harder
refresh
to.
rate.
You have to mess
I'd say
around with a
this
bunch of
is an
settings.
amazing deal.
But when it comes to the brightness,
And
the
team over at
overall
ratings.com
refresh,
did a review on this a while ago, and when it comes to input latency,
yeah,
it's not that
120
bad
hertz.
for a TV. Now, this has nothing on a nice gaming monitor, but those are going to run you around the same price, maybe even a little more for a 4K 120 hertz. Only go for it if you have devices that can do 4K 60, 4K 120. Like I said, the main reason I wanted to pick this up was for the Series X, and I haven't been able to get my hands on a PS5, so as soon as I can get my hands on one of those, I'll be ready with this
I miss my
display.
PS5.
Plus, I
That
wouldn't
thing
mind
was so
plugging in
hard
my
to get when
gaming
I got
PC
it.
to this thing at all. So we've got a great picture, 120 hertz, 4K, HDR, HDR+, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, and the processor that they're using for the Android TV portion of everything actually works out really well for native Android gaming, and like you saw in this video, even emulation on the TV all by itself. So that's going to wrap it up for this video.
This is a $500 TV when I bought it. You can get this thing, the newer version, for around $550 to $600. It's now the U7 instead of the G, I believe. I gotta go get my dog. He's barking. But yeah, this is pretty much. I think I'm gonna use this to end the stream. There's no reason. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do some but I'm gonna use this as a good ending point for this. This is what I kind of recommend when it comes to what to buy today, 7/25 2023. If you're getting into esports or you just want a really high-end 1080p monitor, that Alienware we looked at is insane. $299, it is the best price you can get. If you're more budget oriented, this is what I kind of recommend is the I'll go to Amazon real quick. Tell that I'm a nerd. Linus is a piece of shit. He's lying. I mean, I have been starving him, but that's because he's a corgi, and corgis don't deserve food. Poodles. Walked around. My bad, but your dog. Oh no! Oh, hell. So Pixio has some really, really, really good panels. This right here is the 248 Prime. This is what I recommend if you just need a good 144 hertz monitor. They have the 248 Prime Advanced, which is even better. go directly to. So Pixios are made in America. They're out of Santa Monica, if I remember correctly. They use really good panels. This one right here, the 248 Prime Advanced, 150 instead of honestly, this price difference, the basic one is definitely the better deal because you're saving the extra $30 on it, 30 or $40. They're both IPS. They're both 144 hertz, but you get the nano IPS, which is a faster and better looking panel than the basic IPS with this one, but it's not worth the extra 30 in my opinion. They have a 25-inch 280 hertz panel. This is what I would get if I was looking for something really fast and that Alienware wasn't available, because if I remember correctly, it's 250. Don't know why my internet is running slow today. So for $230, the Pixio 259 Prime, it's a 25-inch 280 hertz nano IPS screen. Really fast, really good clarity, very, very good panel. And for the price, it's a pretty damn good deal at $230. Like I said though, that Alienware being $299 trumps everything we're looking at. There's no reason to buy anything but that, in my opinion. Pixio does make a 360 hertz 25-inch, and unless it is $220, I can't recommend it. I just, in good conscience, can't recommend anything but that Alienware because it is by far the best deal right now. Another good place to go if you are looking for a good deal, like yeah, for $350, there's don't even think about this. That's fucking stupid as hell. But if you are looking for other parts, like for me, I look at CPUs every day because I am looking to upgrade my CPU, but I am very, very, very conscious about what I have. I am currently to find mobility devices that I can afford, and when it comes to buying computer parts, it's not on the top. Unless something is insanely cheap, that's the only reason why. And even then, I have to reach out and try to borrow it from somebody so that I can buy it. So with that said, I do look at them every day, but that doesn't mean I'm going to buy them because, well, I'm not in the position that yet. The more work I do, the more stuff I do, the more subs I get, the faster that my like medical stuff gets kind of figured out, the more chance that I'll actually be able to upgrade. But as it sits right now, I do this for myself, but I also do it so that my knowledge of the market is up to date. I don't like giving advice on stuff that I don't have a clue of. Prime Day, there were some crazy good deals, but right now the market's been kind of nuts where there hasn't been that good of anything. But if you're looking for anything in particular, feel free to ask me. I will do my best to help you. I also have a Discord. It is Sleepy PC Builder at discord.com. Or whatever, however Discord shit works. That's my name though, Sleepy PC Builder. This is the budget CPU that I really do recommend, but for 197 it's too much. This thing will go down to 170 again here soon. The 5900X, there's a few local for around 200 if you live in the Portland metro area. $200 for that thing. This thing isn't bad. The CPU that I'm actually looking for is a 5800X 3D if I do upgrade my current platform. But it's been, yeah, it's not on sale at all. if you are personally looking for a new platform, this is the best deal right now. As long as it may not be in stock anymore. Now, the 6-core 12-thread 7600X AM5, it's $100 off. Realistically, it's $50 off, and it's not on sale anymore. This was $199 for this last week, and for $199, this is a hell of a good deal. You may still be able to find combos that put it at that price, but it looks like it is back to being too much. For $330, the 7700X is a fantastic 8-core. Any of these, though, of the new 7000 AM5, that puts you into the same pool for the next few rollouts. But yeah, it's my fiance's lunch, works from home, so I'm gonna go and I will be back on about an hour. So hopefully some of this helped. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to ask me. I will be back on in a little bit. I'm going to continue playing Resident Evil Village. I surprisingly am really enjoying my playthrough. Now that the terror has subsided, I first got on just kind of messing around, and I'm actually having a lot of fun playing it. This is what I mean though about Amazon Warehouse. Check this out. Instead of 320, you can get the 7700 8-core for $270. And as long as it's shipped and sold by Amazon, which it's not, never mind. So 50, some of these other people other than Amazon are kind of worth dealing with. But you always want to look at their positive ratings. And you also have to keep in mind that you don't have the same guarantee you get when you buy from Amazon. I'll go to Amazon Warehouse and I'll show you. So Amazon Warehouse, you can find it through the scroll down. This is the easiest way to find it, is through here. It's up near the top. Go to Amazon Warehouse and you just type in, let's just CPU, what we're already looking at. We know that the, find something that's actually nothing is. The B660M, this is a good AM5 or this is a good Intel motherboard for 117. I believe its regular price is around it's shipped and sold by Amazon from Amazon House for 117. And you're saving quite a bit of money by doing it. If we look here, like the B450 Steel Legend, instead of being 130 regular price, it's you can get it for 107. The X670, oh, that's $1 cheap. But you can find a ton of really good deals through Amazon Warehouse. You just kind of have to, sift through everything. Like, let's say you're rocking a 11th gen Intel and you need a good budget board, $89 for this ad. This is actually a really good board for $180 for new. Crazy. But yeah, with that said, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. I really do appreciate your time. Pika, if you're still here, I promise I did not forget. I will look at that. So it's the MSI G242. Let's do that real quick. MSI. The 1080p 23.8 inch 1.4. It's discontinued by MSI, so it's going to be kind of hard to find a current price on, but way to get around. So it looks like you can get it refurbished for about 114. And it definitely looks like a pretty damn good budget monitor. T243 is 130. It looks like it's so with it being discontinued, it's kind of hard to find, but it looks like you can find a good deal on it for around 115. If I was gonna buy a 23.8-inch monitor, what I would buy personally would be there's one at, if it's still at Best Buy. I believe it's an Asus gaming. This guy right here, it's the Acer Nitro. It's a 23.8-inch IPS panel. It's 180 hertz, if I remember correctly. It may only be 160. Oh no, it's only 144. Never mind. Really? So it actually has a very good review from Artings for the price. So let's see how much it's on Amazon. Probably what the fuck? 90. So it's 180. Where it was on crazy. Best Buy. Yeah, for 130 bucks new. This is the best 23.8-inch monitor you can readily buy for the price. $129.99. You can probably find it for a little bit cheaper if you really hunt around. But just flat out, this is a fantastic. This tough right here is a pretty good deal as well at 120. But there are so many fantastic 80p smaller fast monitors. Like open box are 97 bucks for none local to me, but there is one local for 103 or 104 excellent, but I'd have to. But if I wanted to get it today, 103 or a 23.8-inch, it's actually good quality. pretty freaking hard to but yeah, that's what I would be looking at if I was in that size, was for the 23. I honestly would sell a kidney or something and get this 8. I'm so like, I really like this 8. Really like this. Super to sell my 32 LG, $200, $300. It's a $500 panel. It's on sale right now for 50, so I could probably get 275. So if anybody wants my 32-inch LG, let me know, because I really do want to test this thing out. And since I don't have the money to just willy-nilly, I have to sell something of my own, and I'm more than willing to put my money where my mouth is. And yeah, that's I think that this is a insanely good price, and I would love to play PUBG on this thing. I really want to try it. I really want to. Anyways, I have been rambling for way too long. I will be back to play some Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village here in about. All right, peace, guys. Oh, I'm still streaming.